Welcome back to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy, and this is going to be about your spoilers for this week with the rest of WWE, along with your NXT Internet results. But first, here's a little bit of news for you. Darren Rovell, a sports business reporter for CNBC, noted on his Twitter account that last night's angle on Raw, in which Vince McMahon was relieved of his duties of WWE chief and replaced by his son-in-law, Triple H, may cause issues with WWE stock. Quote, the number one material risk against WWE stock is Vince McMahon leaving the business. Unquote, Rovell wrote. Quote, tonight's plot could be an SEC violation, unquote. Former WWE star Eric Escobar has launched a Twitter account. So I heard. And Tough Enough contestant Ivelisse was among those backstage watching Vince McMahon's announcement on a monitor at the start of Raw. It is not publicly known if she has signed a contract. And also, their developmental wrestler Percy Watson was also spotted in the crowd. Well, Stan sent word that there was only 36 minutes and 59 seconds of in-ring action on last night's Raw. Well, it was up from the previous week. Didn't say how much it was. And here's another report from CNBC business reporter Darren Rovell confirmed last night's Raw as a storyline on his Twitter today after being asked about the business side of things and how it could affect WWE stock. He wrote, WWE says that Mr. McMahon was relieved of his duties as chairman of the board of Monday Night Raw. He's still WWE chairman and CEO. Jack Swagger noted on Twitter that his arm is hurting from Sunday night's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Word going around, Titan Fighting Championship sent WWE champion CM Punk a message on Twitter offering him 2 front row seats to their Titan FC 19 show in Kansas City on July 29th. The event will be televised on HDNet and feature former WWE superstar Bobby Lashley. Punk says that he may attend the event. He wrote, what hospitality. I may take you up on this. Unquote. A babyface Justin Gabriel versus Tyson Kidd plus Alicia Fox versus Natalya was taped tonight in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was advertised for Thursday's episode of WWE Superstars. According to a new report, the plan for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view as a few days right before the pay-per-view was to have Alberto Del Rio cash in his briefcase and leave the show as the new WWE champion, regardless of who won the match, either John Cena or CM Punk. Well, so they changed it the day of the event. Okay. There have been several ideas tossed around, and WWE decided for over the weekend to give Punk the WWE title and go from there. Todd Grisham wrote following on his Twitter last night, which just may be a joke on all of us of the recent buzz. This just in. Triple H's first act as new WWE chairman is to reinstate the WWE ice cream bars. WWE will tape NXT and SmackDown tonight from the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. TV matches for SmackDown included Randy Orton versus Kane in a street fight and Cody Rhodes versus Ezekiel Jackson for the Intercontinental title on tonight's taping. On tonight's NXT, it is expected that the field of rookies will be cut down to 2. Currently on the show is Titus O'Neil, Darren Young, and Derek Bateman. Several ideas have been thrown around WWE in regards to the CM Punk storyline. One of the ideas being thrown around is to use this as a way to finally get rid of the spinner WWE title belt. And your dark match before SmackDown was taped, courtesy of the reader Zelda Root. Dark match before tonight's SmackDown in Indianapolis, Minnesota, saw one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions, Michael McGillicuddy, defeat Trent Beretta. Thanks to the same person for sending in the following NXT spoilers from tonight's taping in Minnesota at the Target Center. Well, it's not a spoiler anymore. It's already on the WWE website. It's internet. We expect. And by the time I get these results, they are already on. NXT is even worse in person, she says. I haven't watched this crap since season 2, and I forgot how much I hate it. First was some ridiculous challenge that involved giving a promo and beating a dummy with Michael Cole's face taped on it. Titus O'Neil won that challenge. Up next was JTG, who apparently still is employed by WAE, versus Vladimir Kozlov in a pro versus pro match. Okay. Kozlov defeated JTG with his finisher. JTG did a heel promo before the match. An awful segment with Hornswoggle and Maurice followed. Hornswoggle had a secret admirer, and Maurice made it clear that it wasn't her. Yoshitatsu was shown backstage, walking to his locker. His little Zen garden and was destroyed, and his action figure dismembered. He freaked out. Titus O'Neil with Hornswoggle defeated Darren Young. Derek Bateman watched from ringside. And your SmackDown portion of Internet Superstars. Justin Gabriel defeated Tyson Kidd with a 450 splash. Gabriel was a face here and got a good reaction to the 450. And Alicia Fox defeated Natalya by reversing the sharpshooter into a roll-up. And what you've all been waiting for, SmackDown, airing this Friday, being, let's see, well, being today was the 19th, Wednesday's the 20th, Thursday's the 21st, so it's July 22nd. SmackDown opens up with Randy Orton sitting on a chair in a ring with a microphone. He talks about the current state of WWE. He calls out Christian, and here comes the World Heavyweight Champion. Christian says Randy needs to work on his anger problem. They go back and forth a bit until Orton gets pissed and heads up the ramp, only to be stopped by Teddy Long. Long says Randy will get a rematch, but not tonight, as he's already agreed to face Kane in a street fight. He asks Orton to be the bigger man and walked away, but Orton goes for Christian. Officials restrain him, and Long informs Christian he'll be facing Ezekiel Jackson after the break. Wow, so there was a change in matches tonight, I guess, because they advertised Cody Rhodes versus Ezekiel Jackson. Okay, well, World Champion Christian beat Intercontinental Champion Ezekiel Jackson with the kill switch after a back and forth match with mixed crowd reaction for Christian. Anyone remember when these two faced off? For who would remember as the last ever ECW champion? Michael Cole is in the ring and invites SmackDown's Mr. Money in the Bank, Daniel Bryan, to come out. He comes out and Cole rips him for a while. Bryan says he doesn't care what Cole thinks. Bryan talks about the physical sacrifices he's made to get to the WWE. Bryan says he's going to be the first champion to announce when he's going to cash in ahead of time, because apparently he's never heard of RVD. He announces he's cashing in on April 1st in Miami at WrestleMania and fulfill his lifetime dream. Out comes Heath Slater for some unfathomable reason. He gives a heel promo and they start a match. I'm guessing they go to commercial during the, right there, as they have a little break. Daniel Bryan beat Heath Slater with some submission move, didn't recognize, and it wasn't the LaBelle lock. This was a pretty decent match considering Heath Slater was involved. The crowd liked Bryan, but Heath's involvement minimized crowd reaction somewhat. Matt Striker interviewed Mark Henry backstage. Mark Henry says that he has no regrets and everyone should fear him. Okay. Wade Barrett and Sheamus went to a double count out. They continued brawling after the match. Eventually ended up back in the ring where Barrett ate a brogue kick. Seemed like Sheamus may be in the midst of a slow face turn. And we have Kane giving a backstage promo. Says he'll use Randy Orton to kill his humanity and be a monster again. Randy Orton beat Kane in a street fight after an RKO onto a chair. Match saw Kane kick out of an RKO and Randy kick out of a chokeslam. Crowd was much more into this match than any preceding it. Afterward, Kane offered his hand and Randy shook it. Kane looked devastated by the loss. Well, Mark Henry came out and attacked Kane right afterwards, doing the splash onto the chair around the ankle that he did to Big Show at Money in the Bank. Refs came to check on Kane, and I assume this was the end of the TV taping. Well, during the NXT online, a commercial aired during the episode, Redemption promoting next week's episode of Raw as the first show of the post-McMahon era. Also advertised was the final round of the WWE Championship Tournament, as Rey Mysterio and The Miz will face off to determine the new title holder. Well, 2 days past his title victory over Randy Orton, Christian defeated the Viper once again in a dark match at tonight's SmackDown taping in Minneapolis, Minnesota, after the taping stopped. The 8-minute long championship match concluded with Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase distracted Orton, allowing Christian to roll up his opponent. And WWE has published a summer-themed photo retrospective highlighting Divas champion Kelly Kelly and former Divas were also mentioned that were photographed. Terry Runnels, Alundra Blaze, who's that? If you're not familiar, she's the one that dumped the WWE Championship on WCW TV. And then Joy Giovanni. And you can find the pictures on WWE.com/superstars/divas/endless summer photos. Or just go to the Divas and click on the links. And that will end my report on WWE this week. Stay tuned for next Monday's Raw. Peace out. Y'all have a nice weekend. Wow, this video lasted 13 minutes and about 15 seconds. And I will cut it right at that point.